Come here now, girl.
Hello and welcome to WhatsMap, your one-stop shop for everything workshop. I'm BonBonB and you're very, very welcome. Well, it's Tuesday. Tuesday's request day. Today's map was requested by the creator, a creator we have reviewed just the once in the past, back in episode 670, where they got 11 stars and the seal of approval. But before we have a look at the map, a little hint that there's a top secret in last night's Flowscape, something about it being the last one on this channel. Now, what on earth could I be talking about? If you want to know more, then watch Flowscape and it'll have a little bit of a hint about the future. But before we go any further with today's show, it's time for your daily reminder. That's right, hitting that like button really does support the channel, gets me seen by more people and helps me grow a little bit more every single day, so thanks for your support. Today's map is Eureka Bay by Zimm. Now, Zimm is that creator. I love their name. It reminds me of scouring powder. I'm not entirely sure why. Actually, I do know why. Let's have a little look at the start square. It's at least 40% road network, I think. It's beautiful though, absolutely beautiful, and plenty of build space to get started on. The terrain heights, lots of flat land, few hills to shape your city as well. And then we'll have a look at the resources. It's a bit blocky, a little bit blocky, but usable, and plenty of oil under the water as well. Off to the workshop. It's a mass transit map. You will need mass transit for this one. There's a few things to subscribe to. No one-click collection, but it won't take you too long to click through all of those. We'll be using the New Caledonia concrete theme, the realistic 1.2 LUT, and it does say in the description that if you've got Park Life DLC, there might be an extra bonus for you. Okay, let's start off with this, an intersection, a loop back intersection right on the edge of the map. So any traffic coming in can leave straight away without driving across the map, which is quite nice. But a simple little highway connection across there, one lane highway connection would do the same job. And as it's out in the fog, it wouldn't bother me in the slightest. It's a very nice loop back intersection, high quality, but I think probably overkill. Okay, coming down to the first proper intersection, and this is slick. This is very slick. We come up here and there we go. I like that. It's not surround and a little bit of a curve in there. Like the way we ground into elevated on this side, which is good. On this side though, it's elevated all the way, and I don't know if it needs to be. So a little bit of ground based on that side as well be nice. I like the use of the 2-lane road going across there as well. That's all very nice too. Then we have a perfect bridge. Somebody has been watching perfect bridge tutorials possibly. Good to see we have learned you something, Zimm. Well done. You probably knew already, but very well done to you, sir, anyway. And then we'll head across the environment. Now, the New Caledonian theme, it's not to everybody's taste. I'll be talking about it a little bit more later on. The fertile land is a little bit on the yellow side for some people. I actually quite like it being yellow. In fact, it's the theme that I used for my first map, which was Merrickstowe, which is 2 years ago now. Can you believe it? So yeah, I have no problem with the yellow, but of course you can use things like Hide It or No Radioactive Desert and more, little mods like that which will enable you to switch that colour down a little bit. Now I'll have a look at the highways here, see the way that they were separated and they're coming together for the plopped intersection. I'm assuming it's plopped. Why would they come together otherwise? If you were creating your own, just keeping the same distance. We're elevated to allow traffic to go underneath it, considering this is city centre. I'd like to see that just a fraction higher though for that. And then we have the main, this is your start square, well, one of the start square intersections. So what we'll do is we will skip over the highway, have a look on the other side where there should be a treat for us. And there is indeed a treat for us. It's the 189 Atlantic Avenue Brooklyn Residential Pack by Feindbild. And this is a fine build from Feindbild. And factoids because factoids. I need some light. I can't see what I'm doing. Ah, it's better. Right. The 5th of November, which is today, is celebrated as Guy Fawkes Day in the United Kingdom, in remembrance of an unsuccessful attempt to blow up the Houses of Parliament in 1605. During the 18th century, it was actually illegal not to celebrate the day. The law was eventually repealed in 1859. And to this day, yes, it's like 4th of July over here. when it's not raining, with loads of fireworks and bonfires and penny for the guy, which is like just a rag man, and people give pennies, and it's all fun. It's all fun. But anyway, 189 Atlantic Avenue, Brooklyn, residential pack by Feindbild. What a lovely asset that is. If you're doing an American build and you want a Brooklyn asset, that's a good one. Now notice the lack of almost symmetry here. Just that last bit over there. I don't know why the other three are elevated and this one isn't. But I'm feeling that they should all be ground based for the second part of that. We're elevated all the way down where it doesn't really need to be. So I think that was the good one and the other three are the bad ones. And the next intersection is, well, look here. See, we've got... we're separating out again for the next intersection. Why did it have to come together? I would just grab move it. I would use move it. Choose all the nodes along here. Choose this entire highway where it's come closer together just for this first intersection. Something around about there, and just drag them apart a little bit. Probably made a slight jinky janky at this end because of it. Yeah, a little bit of a jinky janky here. Ignore that one. That's easily fixed as well. But I think that is much better. Of course, a slight jinky janky in the ramp as well, but not a huge problem. Not easily fixed. And then you just got a slick move onto this beautiful, ugly lump of spaghetti. I love it. Okay, practical it isn't. Perfect it is. There's no issues with this whatsoever. I cannot find really anything to fault, really, other than just personal preferences. It's slick. I hear it looks a bit low at first glance, but that's perfectly high over that local road there. And it's just blinking marvellous, I tell you. Anyway, it comes back down to land here, and it's all good. And then we got this intersection where we're talking about almost symmetry before. We've almost got symmetry here again as well. I'm loving the 2-lane roads splitting the traffic. That is excellent. And yeah, the almost symmetry. Look, see on the left there, it's slightly longer than on the right. And I would rather it was symmetrical, but it's not critical. It's a personal preference. And you know what? No, we're not going that way. Let's go across this way onto the local roads, onto the national road. Across another perfect looking bridge here, and we're going past farmy lands with all these burnt out shacks as well, which is just a nice little detail. I have no problem with them. There is one button click to delete them, and I think they just add a little bit of interest, if not a great lot of interest, just a hint. I think it just is something extra. Now, here's where things get fun. We got this dirt track off to the left. Now, roads always go somewhere, and this one does. Lucky for us. But it adds a little story. Level crossing, lovely. Adds a little story as well to this map, which I think is a minor negative. I'm not criticising massively. I just call it because in my head, I imagine the map and I imagine the person living at the end of this dirt track out in the woods in the Park Life cottage. There it is. There it is. I'm okay with that. I think that's out in the woods and it's great and it's lovely. But what happens if they need to go and buy their, I don't know, their 20 woodbines or something like that? And let's say the nearest village shop is just on the opposite side of the river here. So there, right, we're going to get there from here. So we come all the way down the track, we take the left to go onto the highway, across the bridge, and then you've got the highway. Well, it only links to the edge of the map. But we haven't got that loop back on the edge of the map. Let's have a little peer down there. There is the loop back, but of course it only loops off the edge of the map. We can't actually U-turn and come back. So our little fella here who wants his 20 smokes or his copy of The Sun or something has to drive all the way back down the way we came, back onto the highway this way, all the way back up the highway up here, and then you can pop into the shop. Thank you very much. I'll have me 20 smokes. Thank you. I'll see you tomorrow. I'll pick up some milk tomorrow. We can't turn back that way, so we have to drive all the way back this way and then loop back over the river and then drive all the way back up this way and back up the dirt track. Honestly, I would just have that intersection having more than that one option. I think it's not just this little cabin, but a lot more than this cabin would benefit, I think, from having that. We've got a rail line here as well. Yeah, just a little thought. It's not a game breaker. It's not a map breaker. It's just a thought, thinking laterally and all that. Okay, the rail. Right, well, we've got rail. It's taking a sensible route, and it's going to get fun in a minute. Okay, it's going to get lots of fun. We've got a little split here. That's nice. Oh, love the use of the vanilla key here as a support there. Then the use of this asset here is lovely. Okay, we're going to get some wonky rails in there. If you want to avoid that, something like Ronix's railway replacer mod would be a better railway. But I'm not moaning because this bridge is just slick and beautiful. And then it stays elevated, goes under the highway here. All very gentle slopes so far. Very happy with all of that. Comes back to ground almost, connects up there. Then elevates again, nice and gently, or relatively gently. I think that's on the edge of what I would allow for steepness. So right on the edge there. And I'm loving these here. It allows us to link through from one side to the other within the start square there. We break into this area here. I just like that. It's a good use of that for what would be like the most urban part of the map. But then we got this. Now, this will allow me to remind people that on Friday I've got a tutorial coming. It won't stop stupid. I'm afraid, Zimm, I don't know what you did there, but you've managed to do stupid. Well done. Anyways, so yes, the tutorial on Friday is about rails. It won't stop that from happening, but missing catenaries and catenaries in the rail lines, it will stop. Like here, there you go. Look, there's a missing catenary right here. There it goes. That's where it should be. So yes, Friday's tutorial will fix that for you, and some other things as well. But it won't fix stupid. And I'm sorry, that was a bit dopey, that last one. Okay, we'll hair off this way. We'll hair off this way, and we'll take an intermission.
Have you ever wanted to create a snow scene in your summer city, but you're not interested in buying the Snowfall DLC? Then you need the Beginner's Guide to Snow Without DLC by BonBonB. Click the information button now.
And so back to Eureka Bay by Zimm and the shipping routes. Very slick looking shipping routes here. Very slick. We've got reindeer antlers down here somewhere. Look at this. There you go. I think this bit's unnecessary, but it's still aesthetically very pleasing when you're looking at it from this point of view. Yeah, reindeer antlers, love them. Very, very nice. Over this side, just one-sided over there. And then this links back up and then heads down towards the edge of the map, and we got another one of those triangles there. Water flow, the river is definitely flowing, and this goes past and through the start square, so there's no problems with water flow at all with this map. So if you're playing with water flow requirements, you'd be quite happy. I think even out here it's a bit light, but the water is still moving, and it's still moving in the right direction to take it away from your city. Excellent. Right, now let's have a look at things. Okay, let's start off. What should we start with things? How about fields? Okay, so I'm happy with the yellow of these the fields. You can obviously use any theme you like, or the theme mixer to mix things up a little bit, but I quite like the yellow. It's mustard colours. Hills are great. Hills actually stop you from building completely grid systems, and these hills are just about the right height, really. You don't really need mountains to force you to build different angles. This is just enough of a slope here. Let me get in close here. Let's have a look how much of an elevation we've got here. Ground level, you can see there's a bit of a climb going on there. If we call up the terrain tool and the level tool, there we go. And I'll try that again. What am I doing here? And the level tool, boom, and then right click. Right, it's 91 meters there. And if we go to the peak up here and right click, and that's 215 meters. So that's a good climb there. Doesn't need to be to the top of the map. Well, I'm still faffing about here. Right, let's build to the top of the map, and I'll show you how this compares with the mountains that go as high as they can. There we go. That is the top of the map there. Now, I think that hill's perfectly adequate, you know. It doesn't need to be as tall as that lump that I've just put in the middle of nowhere there. Let's get rid of it all and go back. So the hills, very happy with the hills. Discreet, subtle, and definitely viable, like all of those things. Then we've got these local roads. Quite like this local road here. Loving, I don't think it's necessary, but I quite like it. There's no streetlight clipping, which is a double bonus. And then it S-bends through these two railway tunnels. Liking that. That's good work. I thought I'd point it out because it is good work. Speaking of good work, okay, next intersection, very slick. We've got a potential start location there. This intersection, I'm okay with that. I'm quite fond of that, but I'm gonna say I'm less fond of. It just looks a bit clunky, all elevated in the way that it is, with a bit of a bow in the two highways there. Let me show you. Let me straighten these highways up a bit using Move It. We're going to need an extra node in. There's a kind of a node missing about there, and that inverts the flow of the road. I don't know why that happens, but we'll invert it back in again in a moment. If I straighten those up, okay, this still will look a little bit clunky. We're going to need to invert the traffic. I'll do that. But still going to look a little bit clunky because of the elevation. But I think by bringing the two roads together, it just makes it a little bit tidier. Let me turn Anarchy off. I'll be able to do this. I'll do this in a minute, guys. There we go. Right, it's all connected back up again. Yeah, so, okay, it still needs a bit of tweaking. I know. I'm never going to get it perfect in a quick show like this. But then you've got something I've not seen before, which is the 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐫 network bridge here, but going through a non-bay bridge asset. This is very tidy indeed, and credit for doing something that I've not seen before. Well done, Zimm. Then we're staying elevated, and we're going one lane above the other to the majestic Bay Bridge. Very, very nice and top work there, BᴏإBᴏ. You are a top creator. And then we come back down to ground here again, and this is a perfectly fine intersection. No moans about that at all. It all just like feeds in together. I mean, it is 4 lanes into 2 lanes, I think, or it might be into 3. Let's look at the beaches. Let's look at the beaches. Loving the beaches on this map. I love the shape of the beach, not just the overall curve of the beach, but loving the way the land drops down onto the beach, which then slopes into the ocean. The only problem with the Caledonia theme, though, is the sand tiles do seem to tile in squares like this. Something I hadn't noticed myself before, and it really shows up on this particular map. Again, switch to a different theme and just find the theme that you like if that is going to bother you. We've also got the essential lighthouses guarding the entrance to the harbour, to the bay. I was expecting lots of water glitching, if I'm honest with you. Didn't really see too much, not on this side. Not that it couldn't be overlooked anyway. And the blue essential lighthouse, very tidily done. And then on the opposite side again, looking for lots of water glitching. And if we look over here, you'll see a little bit of water glitching right in that gap there. But watch this. Typical. Nothing wrong with that at all, Zimm. Carry on indeed. And the essential lighthouse in green with a gun emplacement as well. Nice. Okay, are we about done? I think we are. Just one more thing. If you look at the rivers, okay, it's not a realistic map. We've got the 3 rivers running in. These sandbanks here, which is kind of like a river delta, almost like a marshland sort of area, I guess, but slightly too high. I kind of like the idea. I just don't like the mix of trees. The mix of trees is somewhat bonkers. Like we've got the ferns, we've got the linden trees, we've got pine trees. And it's just a real mishmash of trees going on. Even around here, if you look around here, we've even got palm trees as well. I don't know what is going on with those islands. They're a little bit too silly for my particular liking, but hey, more build plane, better. Anyway, what do you think of this map? Is it a 1-star map? Is it a 5-star map? Is it somewhere in between? Your vote really does count. We use it at the end of the month for the Viewer's Choice Top 10. Will this be one of the top 10 maps of the month? Only you can decide. I'll try and get that nice thumbnail shot. Try and look through there. I like the way that the road bends through there. It makes a bit of a picture. Okay, aesthetically, I kind of like it. It just, I'm not buying it enough for a 4th star though. I'm going to give it a high 3 for aesthetics. For detailing across the whole is pretty good. It's not superbly excellent, but I think it just edges a 4th star. So I'm going to go with 4 stars for detail, but it's a low 4. Gameplay potential. This was tricky. I ummed and erred over this a lot. And I literally, for me, it's sitting between high 3 and low 4. I'm going to go high 3 stars. I'm just not being compelled to want to actually play this map, and that's the only thing that's swinging it. It is a 4 stars for gameplay potential, but part of potential is wanting to actually play the map. I can't see any issues with it. It'll play perfectly fine. You'll enjoy it, I'm sure. Go and subscribe to it now. It's Eureka Bay by Zimm. It just doesn't tickle my fancy. If that makes any sense to you. Is that an English phrase? Possibly. Anyway, thank you for watching, for commenting, for liking, and for subscribing. To all my buddies over on Patreon, thank you, BonBonB buddies. I love you all. I love you all equally, some more equal than others. I'll be back tomorrow with another map in the What's Map series, an old map on the screen now. If you go and check that out. And Flowscape, don't forget, the last Flowscape on this channel. Make sure you check out that, definitely, if you want to know what's going on behind the scenes. See you tomorrow.